the day has come and gone, and that's one more Apple event in the book. So this one was a fairly interesting one. A lot of it was leaked. A lot of the key images actually were leaked, and we knew a lot about it before the event. But what went down at the event was there were a few cool surprises. So let's get right into it, and I'm going to summarize the event as quickly as I can without giving you too many details. So the intro they had, very cool, Mission Impossible style, very fun. Then Tim Cook did come out on stage. He did give the usual thank you and all that. And he did say that they were on track to ship the 2 billionth iOS device. So 2 billionth device with iOS is being shipped. So the iOS meant all the iPhones, all the iPod Touches, all the iPads combined only are the 2 billion devices that he's talking about. So that's a very impressive number. And I'm going to say that a lion's share of that is probably iPhones. He didn't break it down, but I'm going to assume that. So then they moved on into the Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch, as I guessed in yesterday's video, it was thinner. It is a lot nicer. It does have the bigger display mainly. So now instead of 38 and 42 millimeters, we got 40 and 44 millimeters. I think the size of the frame, it's not different. It's going to be the same size, but it is going to have the screen that goes all the way up to the edge, and it is rounded. So right now the display is squared off. That's going to have a rounded off display, and they have a bunch of new watch faces to kind of go along with that. So I do have some notes here, guys, so I'm going to be looking down them now, so just warning you right now. So there is a 30% larger screen as well on the Apple Watch. It's got a lot less volume in the same kind of setup. By volume, I mean the size, not the actual sound. The UI has seen some redesign changes to accommodate the larger screen. So you should be getting a lot more information and detail on the same screen with the new UI. So the new watch faces, they have a bunch of interesting ones. They've updated the modular one to have more information. There's a brand new one with a lot of circular ones where you can change a lot of information on it. I really like that one. And they have these cool fire, water, vapor faces as well that kind of react and move around the screen. That's very cool as well. The Breathe UI has changed. There's these 3 different modes you can choose between. They all look super cool. And there is a lot of interesting stuff. There's live score tracking now with that modular face, as I said. The digital crown has been reinvented. So what Johnny Ive called the most complex part on an Apple Watch has just gotten a lot more complex. So the digital crown now gets the haptic feedback. So you're going to get vibrations as you move it along. Very helpful. I think that will be very useful when you're using it. And I actually don't know why it's not implemented right now. So a very welcome addition. So there is a 50% louder speaker. Now that's a key point because that means that it's going to be a lot easier to listen in on calls when you're taking a call from your Apple Watch. That is one thing I noticed. The volume on the current ones, they're okay, but if there's any sort of ambient noise around you, it's going to be a lot harder to hear that. So a very welcome addition. A new change is that the bottom now is made of black ceramic and sapphire crystal. So that means you're going to get signal passing through there as well, and it's going to be just a lot more cooler looking. So under the hood, there's a new S4 processor. It's a 64-bit based processor, so there was a leak about that, and that did turn out to be true. And it's going to be 2 times as fast as the current S3 processor. So very impressive because the S3 is actually very good. I have never noticed it slow down. In fact, the S2 on my Series 2 is actually really good too. So props to Apple. The Apple Watch is definitely going to be a very usable and very quick device. And some of the new features that Apple was touting was they have a new accelerometer, which is going to be able to detect falls. And if you do fall, it'll give you, if you don't react within a minute, if you don't move at all, it'll alert your friends or whoever you have as your emergency contacts. It can even call 911 or emergency services wherever you are. So a very cool and welcome addition. And the biggest addition now is that they have an ECG built into the Apple Watch. So this is the first over-the-counter product, as they claim, to have a ECG built in, and that is so cool. An ECG is used to detect your heart rate, heart rhythms, and that is going to be super helpful for people who have heart problems, who've had heart issues in the past, or people who just want to, keep an eye on their heart rate. So very useful, very amazing feature, and I think a lot of people are going to be using this as a health monitor because it's just so comfortable to have on your hand and to be able to check your ECG anywhere. A very cool feature. So to finish it all off, the battery life stays the same. It's not going to go down, even despite it getting a little bit thinner and having all these new features. The price is going to start at $399 for the GPS model and $499 for the cellular, and you can add $30 to move up to the larger 44mm band. And you're also going to get the same fit on all of your bands, so you don't have to buy new ones. If you have old ones, they will fit the Watch 4. And it's going to be available on the 21st, pre-orders on this Friday, the September 14th. And then moving on, we had the iPhone. So the iPhones were the big chunk of the event. And honestly, yeah, we expected it. 3 iPhones announced: iPhone XR, XS, and XS Plus. So 10R, 10S, and 10S Plus, 10S Max. I'm sorry. I still do not know why they went with 10S Max. 10S Max just sounds wrong. 10S Plus, just it rolls off the lips a lot easier for some reason. So anyways, same kind of, as they start off, #1 smartphone in the world, 98% customer satisfaction, blah, blah, blah. And then starting off right with the 10S, it's got surgical scale stainless steel, and it does come in the new gold color. It's got the most durable glass ever on the front and back. I thought they said the same marketing stuff in the last version. I don't know. And then it does come in the gold color, as I said. It's got IP68 now, so that's up from IP67. A very welcome improvement. The 10S Max has a 6.5-inch display. The 10S stays at the same 5.8 that the iPhone 10 is at. And they're kind of, they're very similar, to be honest, with the 10. There's not a lot of upgrades to talk about. One of the main ones has to be that because of the sideways, because the 10S Max is so much larger, when you tilt it sideways, you get the split view as you do on the 10 on any Plus model iPhone. So if, like in contacts, you tilt your phone, you'll have the contacts over here and the information over here, kind of like that. It's not it's not a feature to die for, but since it has the larger screen, you do get that option. So interestingly, 3D Touch did survive. There were a lot of rumors that 3D Touch would be killed off on the 10S. It was not killed off on the 10S and 10S Max. It was not included on the 10R though. So, I mean, obviously it kind of makes sense. It is a little bit more budget there, so they're trying to save money there with removing that. But the functionality still remain. So instead of it being a force touch, they're just going to kind of use it as a long press, and when it detects that, it'll just give you haptic feedback, and same way it kind of reacts as force touch without having force touch. So the stereos speakers are improved. They do have wider sound now. I don't know what that means, but until I get the phone in my hand, I won't be able to tell you. They do say it's just a lot more. They use the word wider a lot, but I'm not sure how to. It's supposed to be a lot more impactful, is all I'm guessing. So they did make Face ID faster, but I mean, they didn't change any of the technology, like the hardware. The software is where they tweak things up, I think. So Face ID is still here, and it's going to stay. All 3 iPhones have Face ID. It is the most secure face recognition. I beg to differ. My brother can open my phone and we don't look anything alike. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. The GPU is 50% faster over the already smoking fast A11 Bionic chip. You do get a 512 gig storage now, and it is 30% faster on app launch. So the A12 Bionic chip is going to be 30% faster on all app launches. And then the only real, I think, upgrade in this phone is going to be your camera. There's a new 12 megapixel wide and a new 12 megapixel telephoto lens. The current ones have 12 megapixel too, but these are supposedly different. They have different apertures and shutter speeds and stuff like that. Both have OIS again, and the front has a new 7 megapixel camera for the true, the Face ID, I don't even remember what they call it now. They have some special word for it, but it is the front camera. It's 7 megapixels now. Hopefully, it's a little bit better than what it was on the 10, because the 10 wasn't impressive, especially in front of competitors like the Pixel 2. And one of the coolest features with the iPhone 10s and 10s Plus is you get adjustable bokeh. So the background blur you see in portrait photos, you're now going to be able to adjust how much blur you want. And that's a really cool feature to have, especially if you're kind of tweaking it and you just want that really cool Instagram shot to upload. Very welcome addition. Video records stereo sound as well, and it does have a 2x faster sensor. I'm not sure how that's going to help the camera, because I'm not a camera expert, but if you guys know what that means, the sensor is 2 times faster. As for battery, on the iPhone XS, it is going to be 30 minutes longer than the current iPhone 10, and the XS Max is going to last 1.5 hours longer than the current iPhone 10. Now, the battery on the 10 isn't that bad. It's okay. For me, it's not good. For most people, it's been good. So having any time over that is bonus time for most people. The 10s Max, I think, is going to be a good fit for me. And one of the most shocking things of this entire iPhone reveal was the fact that Apple actually did it and added dual SIM capabilities. Now, mind you, it's not true dual SIM. You can't put 2 physical SIM cards in your phone unless you have the Chinese variant, which is even more confusing to add to the already confusing lineup. So there are going to be Chinese variants where you can put in 2 physical SIMs, but everywhere else in the world, you're going to have an eSIM. So kind of similar to what the Apple Watch Cellular had, you have to set it up through your network, and there's no like SIM card you can put in. It'll directly connect to your network once you log it in and kind of set everything up. So I'm not sure how the exact process of that's going to work, but I'll definitely make a video on that once I get a phone in my hand. And then just a few details about the iPhone XR. So the iPhone XR does not have IP68, but it does retain IP67 water resistant. It comes in 6 colors, which was surprising. These are the most colors of any product Apple has ever launched in recent times. The iPods were the only ones that used to get this many like color options. So now you get yellow, coral, which is orange, blue, which is a very light blue, red, silver, and black. Personally, I think that only the red, silver, and black are good looking. The others are very bright and not soothing looking colors to me. I'm sure it will be popular in some areas of the world, but for me, personally, the red, silver, and black, amazing. The red, especially, the red back with the black front, looks amazing. I really like it. It has the most advanced LCD according to them. I have no idea why they're calling it that. They call it the Liquid Retina this time around. I'm not sure why it's the most advanced. They never kind of got into that besides the fact that it's on an iPhone. And, you know, it's got the tap to wake thing, and it's got the swipe up and all the gestures that you had on the iPhone 10 coming in here. And there's no 3D touch, as I said. It's moving to that haptic touch where you kind of just hold it down for long and it acts as if it's 3D touch. And it's still got the same true depth sensor, the front camera from the 10 and 10s. So the front cameras are the exact same on all 3 new iPhones. The rear camera, the XR is the only one that doesn't get the second camera. The the iPhone XS and XS Max both have the rear cameras, the dual rear cameras. The XR has the single rear camera, but the primary on all 3 is the same. The XS and XS Max have that additional second one. So the XR also gets the A12 Bionic. So internally also going to be the same as the iPhone XS and XS Max. And, you know, just looking at most things, it's going to be very similar. It does have 1.5 more hours battery life than the iPhone 8 Plus. And the iPhone XR is going to start off at $749 for the 64 gig variant. And surprisingly, it's not going to be available for pre-order till October 19th. And you're not going to be getting it into your hands until the 26th of October. The iPhone XS and XS Max, the XS starts at $999, same price as the iPhone X last year. XS Max, $1099. And both of them are going to start pre-orders this Friday, the 14th. And you'll be getting them in your hands on the 21st. Now, iOS 9 is going to be coming out on September 19th, macOS Mojave, September 24th. And just surprisingly, you know, there was no mention of AirPower, no mention of anything else. And it was kind of weird because I really was hoping AirPower would be mentioned. So at this point, I'm officially calling it AirPower is dead. I'm not going to talk about it until Apple brings it up themselves. It's just, I have no idea why. Apple has never done anything like this before, and it's very surprising to me. As for the new iPhones and the Apple Watches and the prices, my opinion is that they're expensive, but Apple has always been expensive. The reality hits me is that the XS is not a... If you have an iPhone 10, don't even bother upgrading. I'm not going to try to justify it. It's not worth it. I mean, the upgrade is you get a better camera and a faster phone. That's it. There's nothing else. If you really want that gold color, okay, but otherwise, all the same. The XR, that's an interesting device. I think that's potentially a really good deal. You get a fairly large display, you get all the same specs as the Big Brother iPhones, and you get a bunch of color options. So I think that the XR is definitely going to be the breakout of this year. I'm not sure how customers are going to react because usually Apple customers aren't price sensitive in most countries. So we'll see how it works. But I'm hoping that the XR does well because I like it. It's a cool phone. Now, the one of the issues I do have is that the XS Max, or whatever. Yeah, XS Max. Super expensive. It starts at $1,100 and it goes all the way up to $1,450. So $1,500 for a 512 gig iPhone XS Max. And there's no special features about it, to be very honest with you, when you compare it to the iPhone XS or the XR. So usually Apple, on their largest phone, they have some sort of differentiator. There's something that they have people, they give people to kind of entice them to come over. This time, there's nothing. It's the same thing as the XS. So the XS and XS Max are the same thing, except for that display size. No differences. And to be honest, one of the key things that hurt me was that, not hurt me, but I was really looking forward to maybe having a slightly lower priced iPhone XS. So I was hoping for a $900 price point because all the rumors suggested so, and it made sense to me, but Apple kept it $1,000. I mean, they're not, I'm not going to say blame, but yeah, that's still the same price as last year. But the new one is super, super expensive. Apple Watch definitely got a lot more expensive. So it went up from $330 for the base one to $400. And now you do have the ECG and all the cool new technology. So I think it's worth it. Personally, I think that it's worth it to get that. So if you have even if you have a Series 3 Apple Watch, I say this is a worthwhile upgrade for the Series 4. iPhones, I say if you have the 8 Plus 10, don't bother with these new ones. If you have a 7 and before, then consider the upgrade. So next week, I will be getting I'll try to get my hands on stuff. You never know with availability here. So I will try my best to pick up the XS Max. I will be trying to get the 256. I can't live with 64, and 512 is just much too much money. Apple Watch, I will be getting the base aluminum sport one, 44 millimeter, of course. So that's coming. I did want to I was hoping maybe if the price stayed the same, I might consider the aluminum one, but that's just too expensive. That's not going to happen. I'm going to stick to space gray for both, by the way. I did not like the gold color on the iPhone XS at all, and I'm not going to wear a gold watch. That's just not me. So that kind of wraps up the event, guys. What are your thoughts on this entire event? Did you watch it? If you did, let me know what you guys thought about it. If not, still, what are your thoughts on the iPhone XR, XS, and XS Max? Right off the bat, I'm telling you, the names are so stupidly long and confusing. And what do you think about the Apple Watch Series 4? Are you going to buy any of them? Are you not going to buy any of them? Comment down below. So if you haven't already, guys, and you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel for more Apple content. Next week, I will get those iPhones, and we will make a ton of more content on that. So if you're interested, I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.